90-Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, star Angela Deem is comparing Michael Al-Sami to an infection in her latest shocking accusation against him on social media. Angela and Michael were together for almost a decade until they split in February 2024. The split wasn't mutual since Michael went missing from Angela's house without informing her. A distraught Angela had even offered $10,000 to whoever would reveal Michael's whereabouts without knowing that he would tell the police he'd left because he feared Angela. The Georgia woman has since been trying to get Michael deported. Angela has dragged Michael to court and might not be able to openly talk about him on social media, so she does it through passive-aggressive reposts instead. Angela's latest post, which she shared on her Instagram story, is from Reels Betonia. The post reads, "All of a sudden they stopped talking to you." The post asks the reader to not trip. It further explains that God will sometimes cut off an infection to keep it from spreading. The situation described in the post made it look like Angela was referring to Michael ghosting her out of the blue by staging a disappearance from her house when she was out running errands, and he was at home looking after the grandkids. What Angela calling Michael an infection means for their relationship. Angela kept giving Michael multiple chances. The post refers to the person who is in the wrong as an infection. In Angela's case, Michael and Angela were both red flags. It was obvious that Michael did not love Angela because of his wandering eye. Meanwhile, instead of admitting that Michael and she would never have a happily ever after, Angela kept forgiving his mistakes. She punished him by mistreating him. This involved her constantly shouting and yelling at him over the phone, and when they were together in person. These arguments came close to getting physical. If Angela thought that Michael was an infection, she should have cut him off a long time back. Angela has no reason to tear the divorce papers she prepared for him on the last resort. She ended most of the seasons they were in together by declaring, "I'm done," but the couple were back together for a new season, as if nothing wrong had happened between them. Life gave Angela many chances to stop the infection from spreading, but she was hungry for fame and greedy for more spin-offs that kept her on reality TV and made her money. Our take on Angela, hinting that it's over for good between her and Michael. Will Angela trip for Michael despite her trying not to? Angela recently hinted at her being lonely in an emotional TikTok clip where she lip-syncs to a sad song. It looked like Angela was trying to get Michael's attention. She also posts these messages to Michael on her stories, thinking Michael would read them and confront her. However, this time, Angela's message to Michael is not so subtle. The message "Don't trip" is a reminder from Angela to herself not to get back together with Michael, but instead get the 90-Day Fiancé, happily ever after, star deported to Nigeria by proving he's a fraud instead. The infection that wouldn't heal. The moonlight spilled over the quiet Georgia neighborhood, casting eerie shadows against the white picket fences. Angela Deem sat on her porch, her fingers curled tightly around her phone. Her thumb hovered over the screen, itching to type another scathing Instagram post. She didn't need to say his name anymore. Everyone knew who she was talking about. Michael Al-Sami. The man who had been her husband, her lover, her everything. The infection that Michael was an infection, a virus that had latched onto her, feeding off her kindness, her generosity, but she was done. This time, she was really done. Or so she told herself. Her lawyer had advised her to keep things quiet, but Angela was never one to stay silent. She wanted him deported, wanted him gone from her life for good, but the truth was she wanted him to suffer. She wanted him to regret leaving her, to come crawling back, begging for another chance so she could slam the door in his face. But Michael was smarter than that. He was already playing his next move, painting himself as the victim. Telling the police he had left because he feared her. Feared her? Angela nearly choked on her own laughter. She was the one who had suffered. She was the one who had been used, lied to, cheated on. Yet, in the quiet hours of the night, when the noise of social media faded and there was no one left to perform for, Angela couldn't ignore the loneliness creeping in. The bed felt too big without him, the house too quiet. She had spent nearly a decade fighting for this man, fighting with him, for him, against him. And now? Now there was nothing left to fight for. Her fingers hovered over the screen again. Another post. Another jab at Michael. Would he see it? Would he react? Did he miss her the way she missed him, even if only in anger? Her lips pressed into a tight line as she finally typed, "God removes infections to keep them from spreading." She hit post, tossing her phone onto the table beside her. The night stretched on, empty and endless, and Angela sat alone, waiting for a war that would never end.